Hello everybody, I've just recently acquired this Boots Auto 8 Zoom Deluxe projector from a very lovely lady, thank you Alison, whose family has owned it since new, and it's been stored, used, and it's in really good condition. As you can see, it's a Boots. I believe from a bit of research, it's supplied by or made by the Fujiya electric company in Japan, and I believe this model is also sold under the brand name of Pallas 8, which is Pallas Super 8. When I first got it, obviously I give it a quick try. Everything seems to work on it except the spool returns. They're not turning, so I did actually quickly take the back off it, and I found that the spool drive belt is perished, broken and perished, although the main motor one is okay. I've cleaned it all off using some pure sort of rubbing alcohol, and it's now ready for new belts, which I now have, and I'm now just going to attempt to do it. I can't find any information about how to do this job online, so it's going to be a little bit of a have a go as we go along job. So as I can't find anything about it anywhere, I thought if this is successful, it might help somebody else if ever they need to do this job themselves. Right, so I'm going to remove the back again now, and that's done by first of all undoing this screw here, which actually does have a little break in it, but I've actually got that in a bag saved by the Alison's husband. That just comes off there, and then the main screw which holds the back on is up here, so you just need to undo that. And that just lifts away. I'll just put that to one side. The screw comes out, which I should save there. I think what I'm going to do, I'm just going to put the actual front cover on it again, because I may actually have to lay it over so as I can see what's going on here. As I said, I have no idea how to get to this. There doesn't appear to be anywhere where this is where the belt goes to drive the pulley. You can see if I turn that by hand, the pulley belt goes there, or the spool return belt drives from there to there. This is your main one here. But I can't see anywhere where the belt can come off and actually come over without removing some of the stuff inside. I'm thinking this one might come off quite easily if I undo these screws here. Just make sure you can see that one, here and here. Right, okay, I'm just going to try and remove that shaft. So I'm just going to get the correct size screwdriver for it. And it looks like 4 Phillips screws, so I'm going to remove. So that's the 2 screws removed from that side. And I'm just doing the ones from this side. It's a bit awkward holding the camera while I'm doing this. As you can see the screw there, I'm just going to undo that. And as I suspected, yes, that arm lifts away. I know it needs cleaning, which I will do shortly. So that's the access to the first one. Now, looking quite closely here, the only way, I've just moved this belt off here, which actually looks bigger than the one that I've got as a spare, a fatter belt. The only way I think I can see this comes off is by undoing this bracket here, which is to the left of the transformer. There's 2 screws down here. Now I'm going to undo those 2, and I'm going to see if I can move this bracket here, there's 2 screws down the side, out of the way enough so as I can pull the rubber belt off and then feed the other one back over, because I've got to get back over both of these pulleys. It's going to be a little bit awkward to do on camera, so I will leave the main camera running so as you can see what I'm doing from there, hopefully. So I'm now undoing the first of the 2 screws here. Luckily I've got a magnetic screwdriver. I'm going to put those screws over to the left. And now the top screw. Let's see if I can get the screw out. Right, well I think what I might be able to do here, just locate that screw as it just fell in. Right, it looks like I might be able to, that is now loose, I might be able to get that belt over and round the top of this bracket. If I can get it up out of the way. And then down underneath and round the end, hopefully, just enough space, hopefully, just to get that in. It's going to be a little bit fiddly this, so I don't want to bend anything, so I'm just being particularly careful. Actually, there we are. And that can come down now and over the top of the fan. Right, well, so far so good. So what I need to do is put the pulley belt on first, back the same way that came off, onto there. So this actually, I'm just going to check. I'm going to put it down around the back of the pulley there. And underneath, back underneath this plate again. Like I say, it's a little bit fiddly. Oh, there's the sun just gone in, which may, right. That can now go around the back there. Ah, brilliant. So that is now round. I'm just going to put some light on this now because it's now, the sun appears to have gone in. Right, now you can see that I've actually managed to get that belt round underneath the back of here and now pulled it across to here, so as it's now located on there. This is now ready to go around the pulley at the top. So I've now got to replace the other one round here, round this back of here, round there, and then up over there, and then replace the two screws in there. Hopefully that'll do the job. Let me just give that a go then. Right, so I've got to take it over. It is definitely a bit smaller than the original one. I'm thinking actually I might just put the original one back on because it actually feels in very, very good condition. That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to use the original belt as it looks in pretty good condition here. The one they supplied as a spare is definitely smaller, and I don't want to risk using that because obviously you can strain the bearings. So I'm going to go back the way I just came. I needed to remove this anyway to get the other belt over to this pulley. So I'm just going to go back the opposite way. I'm glad I didn't actually cut that now, because it did cross my mind that I might actually end up cutting that belt to be able to get it off. So I now just need to get it back down the side of that spindle, which actually is a little bit of a challenge because it's quite a narrow gap. So you've got to stretch the belt a little bit. I know you can't see me doing this, but I'm just pushing it around the back, trying to get it around the back of that pulley. And I don't really want to use anything to push it with because I don't want to risk cutting into the belt. Right, that is now round the back of there. Just got to get it round the back of the plate so as I can pull it this side of it, which I've now done. And I'm now just going to relocate this plate again, this plate on the end, and put the two screws back in. And hopefully I can then just replace the belt, clean the top pulley bits up. Right, so let's just see if I can get these in without dropping them. Bit of a shaky hand here while I'm doing this. I'm not going to tighten it fully till the other one's in. Make sure I get it located in the screw hole first before I tighten it, because what I don't want to do is cross thread anything. Just nip them up without going silly. Right, still turns lovely. Right, so just going to feed that belt back over the big pulley and back over the small pulley. Right. Right, so my next job, before I do the top one, is these look a little bit mucky, so I'm just going to give these a clean, maybe with an old toothbrush. And the same, I'm just going to clean the two drives either side, the cogs either side. And I'm just going to put a little bit of something like low melting point grease on there, because obviously grease can sort of thicken up over years. So if you just bear with me for a moment, I'm just going to go and do that. You don't need to see me doing it. I'm just going to give it a little brush, like I say, with a toothbrush or something. I'll use my wife's, which is probably better that way, isn't it? Only joking. And I'll be back in a moment. Okay, so I've now given these a bit of a clean off using an old toothbrush. Come up quite nicely. I've also just been round, just cleaned the back of the spools as well, the spool drive cogs as well. I'm just going to place the belt over this end first, like so. So that's already in place now. And now I'm going to put this back into position. That goes underneath that side. And then that locates in there, that side. Right. So just going to get the screws back in. I'm going to start with the top right one. So I'm just going to put the screw in through the hole first, hopefully, so as I don't lose it, which I just did. Make sure that little spring washer stays on there as well. Right, put that through the hole first again. Right, just locate it. I'm just going to pop the bottom right one in as well. Don't suppose it really matters which way round you do this. And again, it's just a matter of trying to not lose the screw. Just make sure you don't cross thread them as you tighten them up. If they go tight before they get too far down, just re-loosen them again and just realign them, because that's probably what's happened. And as I say, I'm not going to tighten them yet. I've got the bottom one on the left hand side here, is just a little bit longer. So again, just going to try and hold it steady while I locate the screw. That's got that started. And then this last top left one. I'm sorry, it's not very, very light. The sun appears to have gone in again. Right, let's just nip those screws up initially. Make sure everything rotates freely, which it does. I'm now going to nip the screws up. Let's say they don't need a fantastic amount of tightness because they got the locks, the spring washers on there. Right. Just going to put the upper pulley belt in place around the bottom spool. And around the top one, and that's too loose. So obviously that is not the right one. So screws back off again. This is a bit annoying, isn't it? Actually, I don't think I need to take that off completely. Oh, yes I do. I need that belt. Right, okay. So little mistake there then. So I need to just remove the main pulley belt again, so as I can take this one off and put that back on. So effectively, I'm just going to redo again what I've already done once. And just changing this belt here, just make sure it's not too long. Okay, so I'm just going to go back on myself here. I'll stop the tape, stop the video going at the moment, just while I redo that. Okay, here I am back where I was before. Basically what it was is the upper pulley belt was in the wrong pack, and I definitely checked that when I took it out. So the actual motor drive belt is the one that they supplied is a much narrower gauge, and I think that'd be rather too tight. Anyway, I've got that back on now. I've just got to tighten up these 4 screws, which is what I was doing where I left off before. But you know, this is the beauty of doing a job actually live. You can actually see what's going on and what the little pitfalls you can come across. So hopefully if you have to do this job yourself, you'll be able to sort it without any of these little problems. Right, just need to place a little bit of low melting point grease here. I don't need too much, just going to spread it on there. Give it a turn, just to make sure it drives around the pulley. Like I said, I don't need too much of it. I don't want it going everywhere, it's just a little bit of lubrication for the plastic. Right, then I'll do the same for the other side, up under here. I think that is okay now. Just going to wipe the excess off. Don't really want too much of it floating around, not that I think it'll do any harm up there. So as far as I can see, that's the job done. I'm just going to double check that I've tightened all the screws properly. So that's the 2 holding the, well, it's like the drive belt, the main drive spindle bracket. I've also got these 2 to do. There we are. They're all nice and tight. Right, so I'm just going to wash my hands, just make sure I've got all the grease off. And then I'll reassemble it, then I'm going to plug it in and give it a whirl and see if we've got some drive to the pulleys, which I would like to think that we probably have. All fingers crossed, etc. I'll be back in a moment. Right, so I'm now going to turn this round. That will be going on like so. I'm just going to turn it round. Remove the front, the cover again. The long screw, I'm just holding it back in position. The long screw goes through there. I'm just going to tighten it back up again. Get the screw in place. Just make sure the back is lined up so that the screw locates. And so it's going in now, so it's obviously a bit awkward this because I'm actually right-handed. Right. And then I've got the bulb cover. Never switch them on without this cover on because it actually directs the air over the bulb. And if you don't do that, you can overheat the bulb. And as they're not cheap, as I found out looking online for the price of them, I think it's safer just to make sure you don't turn it on till everything is in place. Right. Once I've got all this sorted, I should be gluing that bit of stick back on there again. Right, so now I'm going to plug it in and give it a whirl. Right, here goes. I haven't got any film here at the moment, unfortunately. So what I'm just going to do, I'm just going to try and give it a little whirl. So I've got it plugged in. Right, so that's this spool running. That's now driving that okay. Let's try the rewind one. That's now spinning as it should do. So now with it running at normal speed, and there we have the light. So all I'm doing now, that's your rheostat to adjust the speed. Everything working. Like I say, roll on when I can get hold of a Super 8 film and give it a try. Watch this space. Thanks for watching. Bye.